Hey guys, it's Haana here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be doing my October bullet journal setup. So I'm so excited for today as it's been quite a while since I've posted and it's also my birthday month. So for this month I decided to go with a Tiana theme. If you don't know, Tiana is one of the Disney princesses from the movie Princess and the Frog. So starting off with the cover page, I used a yellow gold color to create this border. So I used two different tones. I had a lighter one just to make the arch shapes and a darker color to create an outline. I also went back again with the light color just to blend it out a bit so the outlines aren't so harsh. So in the middle I drew Tiana. I really like the dress that she's wearing as it looks like it's been made out of petals or leaves in this instance as it is green, and it gives this very naturey vibe. So how I did this was by using green colored markers. So I start off with the lightest color and then progressively add on different layers to give that contrast. It also makes it pop a bit more and look as if there's more shadows. I thought the background was looking a little bit plain, so I added some water lilies on top of lily pads. For the water I used blue and black and I just blended that together. I thought by adding some black it just helped to create that overall mood, and sometimes just using blue can create this bright color. I also made it really dark from the bottom and then faded it out. For the title, I just used that same gold color, and for the font, I try to make it look similar to what they use in Princess and the Frog. Onto the left hand side, I just drew some more water lilies on top of some lily pads and drew the water with the same technique, having it fade towards the top. In the middle I added a moon. I actually drew this myself. If you're curious as to how I drew it, it's the same technique as I used in my January bullet journal. On top I added some drapey plants or leaves. I used two different colors, purple and blue. For the purple ones I added some blue on top, and for the blue I added some purple on top. This just helped to make it look a bit more cohesive than just having a one block color. I also added some grey to give it a bit more of a muted effect than just have it very bright in your face. I also added some dark grey on the very top and then have it a bit more faded out on the bottom. I also thought it looked a bit weird just having all the plants behind the moon, so I actually got some separate piece of paper and stuck it on top and just did the same technique, so it looks like some plants are in front of the moon and then some plants are behind the moon, and it just gives it a bit more dimension. On the water lilies, I just used a yellow neon marker, and this just helped to make it look like there's pollen inside, or it's kind of glowing in the night sky. So onto the next page, this is where I'm doing my monthly calendar. So starting off with the border, I made it into an arch shape using the same yellowy gold colors, and in the top right corner I drew some more like mini arches on the top, but it ended up looking kind of like a crown, but it gives off those Disney vibes anyways. So on the left hand side, this is where I drew a willow tree, so using the brown just to create the branches kind of going all everywhere, and then to do the leaves I just used the green just to make some random splotches. I didn't make it so blended together, and I made it so you could see all the different brush strokes because it kind of gave off those willow tree vibes. So if you haven't noticed already, during this month's setup I didn't really have any outlines with black pens or anything like that. I think it just helped have it make a bit more of a flow-free look, kind of like paintings I guess, because paintings don't really have outlines, but yeah, and I thought it just fits with this kind of Disney theme of looking all magical and foresty. So in the middle I drew Tiana and the prince. It kind of doesn't look like there's two people, but it kind of does I guess. It's not the best drawing of it, but it has that mood anyway, that there's two people there, so I just thought it's good enough. And then on the bottom they're sitting on some grass with some flowers, and then there's some pebbles that create a staircase up to where Tiana is. So for the monthly calendar, I just drew some boxes. This time I made it rectangular instead of square because it fit better that way. For the title, I just used the same Tiana font and wrote that for the days of the week as well. So at the bottom, this is where I drew more water lilies and lily pads. I used them a lot throughout this whole setup this month, but I like how it has it in a bit of every spread just to make it a bit more cohesive, and it ties the whole theme together. Finally, to finish off this spread, I used a brown coloring pencil just to create some trees in the background. It made it look a lot more full, but not making it too busy as I didn't add any leaves. I just wrote the numbers in the left hand corner and then using a white gel pen just to add some highlights. So moving on, this is where I have my goals and reflection page. I really like the drawing that I had down here because I drew Tiana looking into a pond and seeing her own reflection, and I thought that was really funny because this page was meant for goals and reflections. So I really also like the dress that Tiana was wearing. I know that I said this before, but I only really drew Tiana in this dress. I thought it looks really pretty and brings that whole nature vibe. So yeah, I just drew Tiana looking down into the pond, and I also drew some more water lilies as well as some lily pads. I also drew the frog, and I realized this is the first time I actually drew the frog because I didn't really draw it in any of my other spreads. But I really liked how this spread turned out because of all the different colors. I think I really liked all the bushes around the pond because I tried to make it look like there were bushes full of different flowers. So I had pink flowers, blue flowers and purple flowers. So normally I would just draw some different like splotches I guess, but sometimes I would try and make them into flower shapes. And then I use the different greens just to fill it in and make it look like the different leaves. So I used different coloring pencils just to create the reflection in the pond of Tiana, and then filled up the rest with just the blue and black to create the waters. So on the other side, this is where I did my playlist spread. So these are just some of the songs that I've really enjoyed listening to. So I've got Naka by IU and Akmu, Queendom by Red Velvet, Be My Lover by ATEEZ and Kim Jongkook, Dum Dum by Somi, and finally La Lisa by Lisa. So on the right hand side, this is also where I drew a really big tree, and with some of the leaves I made it similar to the willow tree, I guess because the leaves were more of drapey leaves that helped fill out more of the space. So around all the different songs, I also made it look like there's like a gold frame around to help it tie it all in together. So onto the next page. This is one of the last spreads left, but I just drew some drapey plants on the top, and I did this by creating lots of different splodges, thicker at the top, and then as it gets down it gets thinner. I find that it works better with brush pens, as you can have more line variants, but it still works with markers. I also used a grey marker just to create it more darker at the top so it looks like it's more fading, and also to create shadows. So for this spread, it's actually a birthday time capsule. I haven't done this before, and I thought I'd try it out because it's only something I can do once a year. So essentially I have an envelope, and what I would put inside is different photos from what I did on my birthday and different memories, and I can also write a letter from what I want to tell my younger self and what I want to tell my future self. On the right hand side, this is where I did a quick to-do list with a small little doodle on the bottom with Tiana sitting down with a whole bunch of water lilies and lily pads around her. So this is going to be it for my October bullet journal setup. Thank you to all of you who've watched to this far. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've liked it, please give it a like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more content, and hit the notification bell next to it to get notified each time I post a new video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!